honored to have Solange Bernard, Senior Director of Marketing and Communication at that company, Tim Hortons, whenever I come to Canada. Solange, good to see you again. Pleasure. Come on, have us chat over here. And let's get started. And I think we'll start with, and internally, do you call it Tim? Do you call it Tim Hortons? Is it affectionately known as TH? I mean, how do you refer to the brand?
All of those things.
All of the above?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
great.
Of course. Tim Hortons, Timmy's, Tim's.
Timmy sometimes, okay.
Oh, yeah. It depends on, I guess, the mood.
Okay.
We always equate it to Tim Hortons as the formal.
Okay.
So if you've been
so when you do
naughty,
stock
like if you think about it, if you have a child, if you've been naughty, then it's Tim Hortons.
Right.
When you're being more friendly and personable, it's Tim's or Timmy's.
Wow, okay. And Solange is just Solange, or we ever call you anything else?
Oh, geez, you're getting personal.
See that, right? Yeah, absolutely. We do that here at DPA.
Oh, Solange is good.
Okay, it's a great name. It's what's going on? So any news at the company these days? What's happening?
Lots of news. I mean, we're enjoying really tremendous momentum right now, which is amazing for our brand and really great for Canada as it's such an iconic brand. What can I say? It's been a journey. I've been with the company for about 3 years, and in my 3 years,
before, by the way?
I was at the competition at McDonald's.
Okay.
But I did go to Spin Master for a short period of time in between, so I didn't jump from one to the
so
other.
You didn't go from one burger to the other.
No,
okay,
no.
good. All right.
And we don't have burgers.
Okay, right. Good.
In my time that I've been there, it's been really great to see momentum, to see almost a rebuilding of trust with Canadians.
Yes.
When I joined, it was at a time of, truthfully, there was some, disengagement. Canadians, I think, were feeling a little bit let down by Tim's as, their brand. And I think what we were able to do in the last 3 years is really just put a bit more focus on what our plan is, returning to the basics, getting the basics right so that we could build trust with our consumers. And then that gave us the permission to start to go into some different areas of business. So, being a little bit less reliant on just coffee and breakfast, but really thinking about how do we entice and engage consumers to come to us for lunch and for afternoon snacks. So we've been able to diversify the menu in quite a significant and substantial way.
Right.
Bringing in some really great talent with a chef, so just adding some credibility to our food and showing our commitment to delivering really quality food and beverage to Canadians. We've been investing in digital, so we launched our app. That obviously just gives us another way to engage with Canadians, giving them more a choice of when they want to come to us and how they want to come to us. And then also just being able to get to know our customers a little bit better as well. So obviously, I heard some of the other panelists talk about not having access to first-party data. Our app is such a rich place for that first-party data. So we really get to understand our guest preferences, and then use that to try to get more out of our guests in a way that makes sense. You don't want to abuse that power, that's for sure.
Sure. And also to target advertising. Right?
Yes, yeah, in a responsible way, for sure. And we've been doing a lot with our we've been doing a lot with our communities as well. Right. So obviously, core to our brand is giving back. Right. So it's been great to see that we're able to do that and continue to grow and kind of beat previous records. Doing great partnerships. So that's a way to. We have an interesting brand because we're a brand that is ubiquitous. People have such a relationship with the brand, so grandparents down to younger generations, and really for us, we're trying to start to appeal to that younger generation so that they don't think of the brand as their grandparents' brand. So some of the partnerships that we've done recently.
We do the same thing with out of home. It's not your father's out of home anymore.
Well, exactly. Digital, right?
Good.
So we've been doing some great partnerships. I don't know, I did have a slide just to show some of the work that we've been doing, just to represent the growth of the brand. So you can see just some of the partnerships and who we've been working with in a very authentic and genuine way. But that's just a great way to break through and just build that engagement with our guests.
I like the way you say about doing your community work. I know Brandon's still here about doing good and doing well as well. And let's talk about, we got close to media. Talk about your media mix. I mean, how do you develop it, market it, plan it, buy it?
So our media mix is very diversified. So actually, if you go to the next slide, there is just a snapshot of what a typical campaign might look like. So we are on 365 days a year. We do 4 to 5 campaigns in a given month, and we have to talk to everyone, as I just spoke about. We have to reach, the older generation through to, the younger generation, and quite frankly, their media habits are very different. So we need to make sure that we are in all the places that our guests are, and making sure that we're talking to them in a really relevant and meaningful way. So we have mass through to digital, and really thinking and working with our creative agencies to make sure that we have the right creative in those placements, and making sure that we're working with our media agencies on choosing the right media placements for the campaign, so for the category, but also that works with the creative, and making sure that we're going to be reaching the right people with the right creative at the right time.
Sure, and you've got, like I said, from older people right down to young people that are kind of first experiencing the brand.
Yeah.
Which is really very exciting. And then once you do that, how do you actually kind of gauge the effectiveness of that?
So there's a couple ways that we do it. First and foremost, we look at sales, so same-store sales. You need to make sure that all of our efforts are driving a transaction, so whether that be someone coming into the restaurant and making a purchase, or as I mentioned, using our app, mobile order, delivery. So really making sure that, what we're putting in market through our media is, going through the line to actually resulting in someone coming into the restaurant and making a purchase. Secondly is all around our marketing mix model. So we have a lot of responsibility to our owners and to our franchise community to make sure that every dollar that we're spending is generating a positive return on investment. So we really do leverage MMM. Tracy spoke about it being more of a look back, which I totally agree with. So it's directional. You have to, really put a human lens on taking that data and really putting the strategic filter on it to inform where you're spending money. But using that as a tool to continually optimize. So it's not like a moment in time, but really leveraging that as a way to help us hone in on where we're investing, how much we're investing, and then making sure that it is always, a positive return. Thirdly is just like brand lifts and social sentiment. So really looking at what are consumers saying, how are they feeling? Like the beauty of social is you can get real-time perspectives and feedback. And there is, let me tell you, no shortage of honest feedback coming through social about our brand. So, looking at that. And then I talked about the first-party app transaction. So certainly that's a key indicator as well to see our efforts actually translating into a sale. So yeah, I would say it's a number of things, but I think...
But you're measuring and looking at a lot.
Always, but I think it's sometimes you have to balance short-term versus long-term. So you have to, balance that when you're looking at the whole
branding
mix.
Versus sales
exactly.
and everything.
Yeah,
That's
and you need both.
Key. What an exciting time, especially as people are coming back, and you said you got the brand has developed some more trustworthy and authenticity now, which is great.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
By the way,
Team effort.
And we're here at, of course, an out-of-home conference, and tell us about your views and experiences with the out-of-home vehicles.
I love out-of-home. I'm a huge supporter. It's a big part of our media mix. It is, what I love about it is that there's ease of access, so it's available, especially with digital. There's low cost of production. There's a nimbleness and speed to market that isn't possible with some of the other mediums. And I think when it's done right, it can be hugely impactful and really be kind of a moment to influence a purchase. So for us, there's no shortage of Tim's restaurants, over 4,000 across the country. So it's very convenient, but we want people to see a board, engage with it, be, enticed, drawn in by the beautiful imagery of our food, and then when they're about to come up on a Tim's, they're pulling into the driveway because they just saw that board and it has driven them to an impulse decision. So we love it, and it's very much a big part of
Driven them in two ways to an impulse decision.
Yeah.
This way and that way.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, good.
Yeah.
Some great quotes. I love that of home. It's a great part of Tim's media mix. Now, I could use Tim now that we've known each other for a little while, so I can say Tim.
Yes, you can.
Please put your questions into Slido or the Neo Slido.
I can talk about a couple examples
please,
too, though,
go
if you
ahead,
wanted.
yeah.
So if you go back, actually, one example that I'm really proud of is this year. So I think, as you all would have known, during COVID, we actually moved away from roll up the rim, which was, you roll up the cup, to a fully digital in-game activation. So big shift, but with that, we're able to, advance how we're communicating and how we're building campaigns around roll up to win. And this year, for the first time, we were able to actually leverage our first-party data within the app to create localized winnings that were happening in market. So the campaign concept was all around, who's the roll-up capital of Canada, so creating some healthy competition between markets and being able to pull in real-time wins from the app and pushing it out to boards in markets with the winnings was a great way to keep Canadians really excited and engaged and wanting to play and keep rolling. So that was one example. Another example that I'm really proud of is our Smile Cookie campaign, which is an annual campaign, and some of the learnings from research that we know is that when people and consumers see where the money is going and see an actual charity or community group, and they feel that, okay, if I buy this cookie, it's going to go directly to this community group. It really translates into people wanting to come in and purchase more cookies, which means more donations. So what we were able to do with our agency Horizon was actually localize 600 plus boards across the country, which was pretty remarkable. So over 600 boards had localized community messages. So really exciting that we were able to do that. We're going to continue to push how we can do more and more of that in the future, but great result. And we had record fundraising numbers this year, so it's really great.
And so you're giving back, which is
giving back, of
critical
course.
as well.
And then the third example is just an example of how digital out of home really allows us to be quick, nimble, and honestly have amazing speed to market. So this was a campaign that, in all honesty, from the idea that was pitched to us to in market, it was maybe about 3 weeks max. And that was because we were able to work really quickly with our agencies. They were really excited about it. Worked with all, the vendors and partners to get us up on digital out of home boards really quickly, and we were able to capitalize on an amazing idea in record time. So that's just, I think, a testament to the platform, to the medium, and to the vendors who were able to support us on that.
Solange, that's great. The nimble and the agility nature of digital at home is incredible. And you've got a great agency with Bill Koenigsberg over at Horizon there.
Yes.
He's done some great work all over the world.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have time for just a couple of questions. Can we put up Slido or Slidio from Neo? Let's see. There's the one down here. Did Tim's approach Justin Bieber for Tim Biebs?
Very important question. There's a lot in that. It was a mutual.
Okay.
It truly was mutual. He loved our brand, talked about our brand on social for a long time, so it was a natural way for us to connect and work together.
You mentioned, and I think this question, I'm going to change a little bit. It says you mentioned that Canadians felt let down by the Tim's brand. How is Tim's actively trying to repair that? I think you've repaired it already.
We've repaired it, yeah.
Maybe you could just articulate some of the specifics of how that happened.
I just think it was a bit of Tim's was trying to do a lot and trying to be everything to everyone. So I think just more focus, more of a commitment back to the basics, having a long-term plan, and getting our food right and starting to innovate within food and beverage.
Makes good sense. Last question: how Tim Hortons target and personalized digital out-of-home campaigns? I think you've kind of shown that to achieve effectiveness and success, and we saw some great examples of the targeting. And so many great questions. Wow, we could do this all day. You're a very popular guest here, so let me pick out one last one. There's a lot of Timmy's questions. How did you find Tim's? I'm going to go to the top if I can reach down. How do you find Tim has hit an awareness ceiling in Canada, or there's still particular audiences That's a good question that you're trying to reach, because you've got a great brand, a great reach. Where are the pockets for growth?
As I mentioned, I think the pockets of growth are really that younger.
Young people.
But also striking the balance of we don't want to lose our loyal guests.
Of
You
course.
know, you have to, nurture that relationship, nurture that loyalty, but also find a way to bring in that guest of the future.
Wonderful. Let's give Solange a great hand. What a great session. Thank you
you.
so much. The Digital Head of Homeworld and Nestle's is honored to have you.